So today I'm going to be comparing the brand new Pioneer XDJ-XZ with the club standard Pioneer CDJ setup. If that's something you're interested in, stick around for the rest of the video. So yo, welcome back to the channel. I am DJ Kiz Walsh and today I'm going to be comparing the brand new system, the XZ, with the club standard CDJ setup. I made a video a few days ago where I compared the XZ versus the RX2, and I came to the conclusion that I thought the RX2 was actually better value for money. Mainly because you could save yourself £650, you could go and maybe buy a set of speakers with that or a good laptop, and realistically speaking, the features and the specifications between the two weren't that different. You know, you wasn't getting an incredible upgrade for that extra £650. Now, I also made it very clear that I thought the XZ was actually a better system, generally speaking. It has more features, it's more powerful, therefore it is a better system. But what I thought was an interesting point made on one of my videos in the comment section was that the XZ is just as good as a full CDJ club standard setup. So what I thought I'd do is make a video comparing the XZ versus the standard club setup, and we can actually get to the bottom of this and see which one is actually better value. So first we're going to start off on the mixer, right? Both systems have a 4-channel mixer. They have 3-band EQ, they have trim knobs, they have faders, they have crossfaders, everything you would expect, of course, on a piece of Pioneer equipment, especially a high-end piece of equipment. They have the same amount of color effects and the same amount of sound effects, generally speaking, in the same places. And they also have the little touchscreen pad that you can change the parameters and you can change the length of the effects and stuff. It's pretty much the exact same, it's in the same place. However, the Nexus CDJ club standard setup actually has an extra little bit above it, and that screen just gives you a little bit more information about exactly what effects you're playing. So that isn't necessarily like a really helpful thing, but of course it's always good to have extra information available, especially when you're in the mix. It's good to have everything that you can see right in front of you so you know exactly what you're about to do. Now, in terms of the screen, they're the exact same. The layout, the buttons around the screen, they're the exact same. The only difference is that, of course, with a club standard CDJ setup, you actually have two. You have one on each player. Now that obviously is a massive bonus for the CDJ setup because you get more information and you don't have to combine the information all onto one screen. You know, it's so good having one track's information on one screen, another track's information on another screen, and you know exactly what you're doing. Of course, when you combine them together, you're basically squashing everything together and you're halving the amount of information you can actually have. One positive of that, of course, is that the wavelengths actually sit on top of each other. So I know a lot of people beat match by looking at the grid and doing that. Of course, that's quite a rookie way of beat matching, but I know a lot of people like to do that, and it definitely is nice to see that visually, especially like in Rekordbox Serato where you can see everything's lined up. Just again, it just reinforces that everything's in beat, everything's on time. And of course, it is helpful when you are learning to DJ that you can see that grid, because that's how you learn to beat match. You see it and then you can hear it as well, and that's how you kind of get a feel for beat matching, and that's how you can start to really develop an understanding of it. It's important to kind of have that in your early stages, but of course, once you get to being able to beat match by ear, you don't really need the wavelengths to be on top of each other, but again, it is a bonus. It can be seen as a bonus anyway. One big difference, however, is that the XZ actually have screens in the middle of the jog wheels. Now, I believe the jog wheels are the exact same size, but of course, the XZ has a big display in the middle of it. Now, this display displays things like beats per minute, like key of the song, whereabouts in the track that the song is playing. Now, that is really useful information. Now, of course, you can see that anyway at the top of the players on the Nexus setup, right? But of course, being able to see it in the middle of a jog, as well as having the screen up top, it's more information available. So although there aren't two players with screens on, there kind of is, you know, you still get information on your two players and you have the mixer sections. This thing is very, very good in terms of the amount of information you can actually see while you're mixing. That doesn't necessarily mean that the jog wheels on the Nexus setup are bad. They, of course, are very, very good jog wheels. They are mechanical, just like the XZ. And again, they're the same size, so they're pretty much the exact same jog wheel. It's just that screen that's the difference. Now, one thing that the XZ has over the Nexus setup for me, and probably the biggest thing, is the pad section at the bottom. You know, the performance pads that the XZ has are incredible. It has 4 different functions there, and then it also has 8 performance pads. Hot cues, slicer, all that good stuff down at the bottom, which aren't available on the CDJs. We do have hot cues up in the top left-hand corner, very small little buttons, and of course they have a job, they have a purpose, they work well. But having those pads down the bottom, we've seen now that they work well. You know, every single piece of equipment that's been released, not only by Pioneer, but every other brand, feature the performance pads at the bottom because they really do work well, especially when you can put some effect and some features above them and you can make it really easy to get to those things. It makes sense to have them. I believe that when the next Nexus CDJ Club Standard range does come out, that they will feature the performance pads at the bottom. So yeah, the performance pads on the XZ is a massive, massive bonus. Of course, it's something that was kind of started to being introduced just as they released the CDJ range, so they didn't really think to put that on there. But again, it's something that you can expect in the future from Pioneer. Now on the players, they have the same loop, tempo, and pretty much every other button on there. You know, they're pretty much the carbon cut copy of the other one. Now what is interesting is how well Pioneer have adapted the CDJ Nexus full club setup to a standalone DJ system. One thing that does become clear is that the club standard DJ setup is a little bit too expensive. You know, it is obvious now DJ prices are starting to come down, the controller prices are starting to come down. Everything in DJing is just starting to get a little bit cheaper, and obviously Pioneer have to adapt to that. They have to make something cheaper because other brands are coming in and they're coming in with good equipment for less. So Pioneer have to adapt if they want to stay relevant and they want to stay the biggest seller in this market. And of course the XZ is their answer to that. They have managed to create the club standard Nexus setup in one system for £1,800. You know, I was a little bit critical in the last video of exactly what I thought about this, and maybe I was a little bit harsh saying that the RX2 was better value for money. Because once you put the XZ up against the club standard setup, there's very little difference between them. You know, of course, there's one difference that they can play CDs, but who's playing CDs anymore? Who's putting CDs in their players? No one uses CDs. Everyone's USB DJ now, so it does not matter that they can play CDs. Unless you're a really old school guy and you want to play CDs, which I have seen people play, by the way. Even out in recent times when I've been out in clubs, I've seen people carry a CD case with them and they're switching CDs. So fair play, if that's what you're into, of course, then you need the CDs. You're gonna have to get that standard setup. But the XZ, considering the price difference, and this is a big price difference. This isn't £650 like I was complaining about in my last video. This is a huge price difference. This is like months and months worth of working. You know, this is like a big wage. It's just massive, it's monumental, and I cannot believe that Pioneer have kind of shot their own products, because what they've done here, releasing this XZ, they've kind of made the club standard setup a little bit irrelevant. Now don't get me wrong, you're still going to see it everywhere because obviously people already have that. They're not going to sell the club standard setup to go and get a standalone controller when they already have that. But if you was a bar, if you was an events company, if you was a club and you was looking to buy a piece of equipment, why would you now go for that club standard setup, the Nexus and the plate? Why would you do all that? It doesn't make sense when you can go and buy the standalone controller, the XZ, and you can put that up there. It has the same features, it has the same specs, it's pretty much the exact same system, except it's an all-in-one, and it's a lot cheaper. So fair play to Pioneer for adapting to the market, and fair play to Pioneer for actually like doing something really, really good. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to release, you know, an all-in-one system that is 4 channels and that replicates the CDJ look and is pretty much a club standard setup as an all-in-one and only charge $2,000. They didn't have to do that. The fact that they did obviously shows that they're willing to evolve and that they're willing to move in the right direction. And I'm only hoping that this is good things for the future. As I said in one of my previous videos, I'm personally hoping for a Pioneer setup, 4 players and a 4-channel mixer all-in-one system. Now, I do believe that will come at some point. Whether Pioneer will do it or someone else will do it, it will be done at some point. And when that gets released, if they can make that price under £2,000, whoever does that is going to take over the market. Because that thing will be a beast and that thing will be wanted by everyone. Already these 2-player systems are pretty much taking over. Everyone now has a controller or has some sort of system that has 2 players on. But that's just because that's the standard at the moment. Of course, everyone would want 4 players. You can be more creative and there's better possibilities for like back-to-back sets. But generally speaking, people are excited for the future and Pioneer's heading in the right direction. So this isn't like a major comparison video between the two. It was more of a discussion about how well Pioneer are actually doing in evolving their own products. And I'm excited for what the future holds. I hope you are too. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, or you think this is Pioneer doing the right things, or maybe you was a little bit disappointed by this XZ. Maybe you thought you should have had a little bit more. I was maybe a little bit too critical in my last video, but I definitely do still stand by that the RX2 is a very good system and very good value for money. but maybe it just turns out that this XZ is even better value for money than the CDJ system. Let me know what you guys think. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop the video a like, leave me a comment of anything you maybe want me to discuss in the future, and yeah, I love you. I'll see you later. Bye bye.